I'm just going to exit quickly because I can't see Nash at all, but I can see anybody else. I'm going to come back in. Hold on.
Well, it's only me.
Wait, you can't see me? Maybe just your guess is that,
What's up, ladies and gents? It is year 2021, and we've got the prediction game back. We're back at it. We watched Kyle, suffer a little bit through that season. He did miss a few, which is fine. But this is his year to have that comeback. Will Jeremy reign supreme? He's not with us today, but I'm sure he sent us his predictions, I think. If you're not, we'll make it like we always do. It's okay for Jeremy. We don't mind that. We can get a bit of a head start, a head start on this one. But, of course, let's not waste time. I am your mother's favorite podcaster, Vaz. And, of course, we're bringing you WWE Day 1. And it is the major players' predictions. As always, we've got our ever-trusty Nashville with us. So welcome, Nash. We also have last year's loser, Kyle, with us, who's here for redemption. What's up, guys?
Yeah, I hate that intro. Hate it. Last year's loser. I just want to say, I started off on the back foot. I started a pay-per-view out, I don't know what's cracking in AEW. I've realized I have to just write off all the AEW pay-per-views that are coming on. So I have to hit the nail on the head. So thank you, Jeremy, for missing this one. I hope he doesn't send his predictions to give us somewhat of a head start. But I'm going to make a call. I'm going to win this year. I'm sure of it. I'm winning 2022.
Fighting words. Them fighting words, Kyle.
My goal is to not be in the bottom of the logs with Kyle this year. I want to be in the upper echelon with Baz and Jeremy.
Listen, I don't know. I wasn't that far off you. I remember. So Jeremy destroyed us all. But let's leave that in the past now. We're now talking 2021. It's a year that actually WWE has reduced the amount of pay-per-views that we're getting this year. And in essence, AEW's increased their pay-per-views. I mean, they had, 3 last year? They're going to 5 this year, according to their calendar. Obviously, it's wrestling. Things change. You never know what's going to happen. With WWE's going to 9 pay-per-views instead of 14 from last year. So, huge difference from WWE. But, of course, that doesn't include the two Saudi Arabia trips that they do, which count as, so we'll leave that. But we are talking Day 1. WWE Day 1. And let's put the stupid name aside. Let's talk about predictions. This is our match card. We've got Big E, the WWE champion, taking on Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley in a fatal 4-way match. We then have SmackDown's champion, Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion, taking on Brock Lesnar. Obviously, just a straight-off singles match. We then have the SmackDown Tag Team Champions with the Usos taking on New Day, which is, of course, Kofi and King Woods. And then we have a couple of other grudge matches as well. We've got Edge taking on The Miz in a singles match. Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss in a singles match, apparently. And then the Women's Raw match, which will be Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. Of course, this all happens on January 1st, Day 1, WWE's pay-per-view. There's still a SmackDown and a Raw in between us recording this, so the match card could change. But we are going on these 6 matches for our predictions. Let's start off with the most, let's say confusing match. Not really a pay-per-view worthy match. Let's put it like that. Drew McIntyre taking on Madcap Moss. All right. This first of all, let's just say this time last year, Drew McIntyre was red hot. All right. He was the WWE champion. He was destroying anything that came in his way. And now he's in a comedy feud with Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss. Let's start with Nash. You look angry as hell of this match. So I'm going to start with you. Give me your thoughts and insights on this match.
You can see I'm wearing red, and that's because I'm seeing red when I see this match. Honestly, why? That is my question. Why is this on a pay-per-view? Why is Drew McIntyre in a match with not Baron Corbin at the very least, but Madcap Moss of all people? Madcap Moss, really? First of all, the name just annoys the heck out of me. And then you put him in a match against Drew McIntyre instead of putting at least Baron Corbin. At least Baron Corbin has some sort of, some sort of legitimacy to him. This guy who was called Riddick Moss in NXT comes out like madcap Moss with Baron Corbin, and now you're putting him in a match with Drew McIntyre on a pay-per-view. Why? Why is this match happening? I do not care for this match. I hope it gets stuck on the pre-show. I will not. If it is on the pre-show, this will be one of the first times I never watched the pre-show. I always watch the pre-show, the kickoff. I always watch the buy-ins. This will be the one time I will never watch it because I hate this match. I despise it. I do not want to know about it. If this match is on the pay-per-view, I'm skipping right over it. I do not care. I will not do a review of it. In my day one review, if I do decide to do a day one review, I will not even review this match because it's not worthy of being reviewed. My prediction, Drew McIntyre for the win. I could care two hoots about this match. Thank you very much.
Well, that's a great way to start the year.
I don't think I could add anything to that. I don't think I can add anything to that. I 100% agree with everything Nash that Nash has said. I can't answer a question, and the question is, why is this match on the pay-per-view? And to be quite honest, day one is going to be attracting quite a few people. I mean, we've obviously got Edge on the card. It's being headlined by Roman against Brock, so people are going to be coming to watch this pay-per-view. And if there's any reason why it's there, is so that Drew can get somewhat of a, some sort of recognition by people who are maybe churning back into this sort of road to WrestleMania season. And you can't put him up against someone who you're trying to build a little bit later on. So Madcap Moss seems the right guy to maybe be facing Drew. That reason doesn't justify why this match should be on the card. And I agree. Drew he wins this match. He moves on. And it's quite frustrating because the way they have sort of outlined this pay-per-view is that day one was supposed to become part of the new road to WrestleMania. It was supposed to kickstart what we're going to get excited for in April. And, with the superstars involved, with the feuds that were supposed to be built out of this, it feels like it's very hypocritical. It feels like they're not actually following suit with this. So if anything, this match is to make Drew look good going into WrestleMania season. He has not lost since he joined SmackDown, which, and I don't think he will. So my prediction, as Nash said it, Drew McIntyre wins this match.
Okay, all right. So, funny enough, Kyle, I've got some bad news for you. Jeremy WhatsApped me a list of predictions.
Oh, God.
So I'm just going to give them to you.
Again, I quit already. Yeah. I quit already.
So just to give you guys, Jeremy, according to him, says Drew McIntyre will beat Madcap Moss. And I think we all agree on that one. We don't see Drew losing this one. The only way I see him losing is through a disqualification because Baron Corbin got involved in the match to progress that storyline further. I don't think it should be progressed any further. I think it should just end here. And I agree with you, Nash. This shouldn't even be on the card. This should be a Raw hour, 2.5 minute, just before like the two main events, just a little fill in something. Even a backstage brawl or something like that would have been a lot better than a full on match at a pay-per-view. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Drew McIntyre definitely will win that one. I think we all agree. Let's move on to a grudge match that happened within 3 weeks. According to WWE, they've been planting this seed for many years. Personally, I don't remember these two ever coming head to head over the years, but it's WWE. They can change history as they please. We've got the Edge taking on the Miz. Well, just Edge versus the Miz, not the U2 guitarist. He's not wrestling, just Edge. Anyway, good match in my opinion. I'm going to start with my thing. You guys know that I like Edge. You guys know that I love the Miz. It's two of my favorites of all time. To see them going head-to-head is great. I think the key factor in this match, though, will be Maurice. Now, the reason I say this is Miz and Maurice have been teasing a little bit of tension between them over the last 2 weeks. There's been a bit of miscommunication. And I think that's going to be played further. I think it's going to be the way to break Miz and Maurice up a little bit and actually give Maurice a proper singles run as a wrestler. She's expressed interest in going back in the ring and actually wrestling, not just being a pretty face. So that's always nice news. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think it's going to be teased. I think she's going to go a singles route. He's going to support her. And then I think she's going to be in the Royal Rumble. I think they're trying to get as many female wrestlers as they can for that Royal Rumble so they don't have to have legends returning. I think that's the idea behind Maurice. But regarding this match, I think it's going to be a fantastic match. I'm putting it out there and saying it's going to be one of the match of the night. These guys are both great in the ring. They've proven that they've got the verbal chemistry, and I'm pretty sure they can transfer that into a wrestling chemistry. With that being said, I am definitely going with Edge to win this one, and he's going to edge the Miz out of it. Sorry, that's the last pun. But yeah, Edge. Kyle, what do you say on this one?
So when you said miscommunication, that was a pun intended. Okay, I thought I was the only one who caught that, and it wasn't intended. But hey,
no, it was there. But I'm glad you picked it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think they capitalized on the whole MJF CM Punk feud, and that promo where the Miz was obviously mentioned and brought him back right. I mean, they brought him right back into this, and you can't really pair him with anyone who's sort of lower mid card. So you have to go with a big name to really just hit home, and Edge was obviously the right person. I'm not sure how much to read into the whole Maurice thing. Remains to be seen. I've learned when it comes to these predictions, don't book and don't predict based on the way that you would like to go. Don't be a fantasy booker. Just book the way you see it. And what I really like about this, and this is what WWE's always been good at, taking bits and pieces of things that have happened over time and putting together a really good video package. That's sort of, they did the same thing with Seth Rollins and Edge. Those mirroring careers of when they had picked up certain championships and hit certain milestones in their careers. The Miz obviously had more or less the same things as Edge. So I do see Edge winning this. Whether this sort of blossoms into something for Miz and Maurice moving forward, I don't know. But again, this is about, putting up some big names and really just making us want to watch WrestleMania. And just very similar to the whole Drew McIntyre story, I think this is Edge's route to that, and Edge's sort of chance to shine and show that he is a main event player again. I agree. I think this could be match of the night. I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised by what we're going to see because the Miz has always been a good worker, as has Edge. So I'm excited. But again, I agree. Edge for the win.
All right, Nashville, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah.
I know you've got a lot to say about this one. Also, I don't think you're a big fan of the Miz, but I know you're a big fan of Edge, at least.
Yeah, I am a big fan of Edge, and it's no secret I've never been a fan of The Miz. I do respect him for what he's done, and especially when he had the Intercontinental title run, it was really, really good and a solid run for him. So he earned my respect back then. Before that, I was really annoyed anytime he'd come on screen or speak on camera. I was just like, oh, this guy. But he's coming to his own. This match is probably one of the few matches on the day one card that I actually care about. Unlike, the one I spoke about, I like this match more. And I like how you think that Maurice is going to be part of the Royal Rumble. And when you said that, I was like, of course she has to be, because they released practically half of their roster. They need more female talent now because they let go of practically half of the WWE roster to make a Royal Rumble even happen. So, yeah, but Maurice doing a comeback, while she has expressed it, I don't think it would be wise for her to do an in-ring comeback at this point. Maybe just a Royal Rumble appearance and one and done. Because I don't really want to see Maurice do anything more other than be Miz's side piece and, run interference. Be sort of like the Queen Elizabeth to a Randy Savage or, sensational Sherry, something like that at the ringside to distract the opponent or cause a distraction finish. But to actually be an in-ring competitor, I don't see it happening. This match is going to be really good. I don't think, and I don't recall Miz and Edge ever tangling it up before in the past. And I think this reminds me of the Randy Orton-Kane feud, that they just, back in WrestleMania 28, 2012. That just sprung out of nowhere with no backstory, no foundation, and they just made up stuff as they went along. So, and I do like how they did bring up the old segment of the Miz eating the chicken nugget in the locker room. That was kind of funny to me because I remember that and it was like, okay, I can actually imagine and actually see Miz eating a chicken nugget in the locker room and sprinkle it all over Edge's bag. But yeah, that's this feud. The feud itself, I'm not really buying into it, but Edge and Miz are doing an okay job. I'm really torn about who's going to win, though. On one hand, I could see Edge winning, with shenanigans, overcoming the shenanigans of Maurice at ringside and Miz. But at the same time, I could see Miz getting the win thanks to the shenanigans of Maurice. So it's a bit of a toss-up. But if I'm looking into WrestleMania season, I see a position more for Miz than for Edge because Edge right now, we all know he's wrestling on borrowed time. There's not much left for him. There's not much left or much time left for him to go until he has to finally call it quits. So based on I think Miz is going to win. My prediction is with the Miz because I think Maurice is going to cause some interference. I think this whole thing, just like Edge mentioned last week, Monday on Raw, that this whole thing with Maurice is just a facade. They're just doing this to try and make it look like Miz and Maurice have issues when they really don't. So yeah, I'm going for a Miz win. And I don't think this is a one-and-done match. I see probably Edge and Miz tangoing it up until maybe Fastlane or before Elimination Chamber.
Well, interesting you bring up that according to the WWE schedule, there is no Elimination Chamber pay-per-view or Fastlane pay-per-view. It literally, according to their schedule, it's Royal Rumble January, WrestleMania March. That's it. There's nothing in between. They'll probably add something. They probably will. They probably will. But that's how it is. But anyway, giving you Jeremy's quickly. So I had a giggle because he sent me the message while Carl was talking. So I apologize for that I giggled in your thing, Carl. But yeah, he says, what's the point of this match? Obviously, Edge is going to win. He's coming back again. Probably win and then not see him again till WrestleMania. So that's Jeremy's prediction with
Vintage
Jeremy. Vintage Jeremy. As the good old Michael Cole would say, Vintage Jeremy! There we go. Right. Now that we've got those little grudge matches out of the way, it's time for the title matches that we're going to talk about. And one title match in particular that I absolutely don't care about. And the reason I don't care about this match is we've had this match happen since SummerSlam, basically. They've been building it up since then. The Charlotte Becky Lynch thing got in the way a little bit, but Liv Morgan was always around to do this match. And we've watched this match. We've seen this match. I think this is the fourth time these two are going at it, or third time. But anyway, it's Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch. Right? Becky Lynch being the champion, Liv Morgan being the challenger. And I'm gonna start with Kyle on this one. In fact, before I start, I'm going to give you Jeremy's prediction. He says, Becky Lynch, no doubt. That's all he says. He didn't give me any more information. So, Kyle, up to you. Take it away. Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch. I know you've got an affiliation with Small Blondes, so let me know what you think about this one. Don't roll your eyes at me.
I don't know, Kyle in 2021 would have been very annoyed by what you just said, Vas. Kyle in 2022 is come to expect this from the major players. Liv Morgan is going to beat Becky Lynch and start day one of the era of Liv. We are going to live forever. No, I'm kidding. Look, I see Liv winning. I'm not going to lie. I do see Liv winning, but I see her losing the title within 2 weeks or so. So I think it has been a little bit drawn out. I think they missed that moment that they potentially could have had by letting Liv win, at, what is it, on Monday Night Raw? Or was it a pay-per-view? I can't even recall. But Liv Morgan beats Becky Lynch, gets it done. I want to see Becky in the Rumble, to be quite honest. I want to see her surrounded by all these ladies that she's just badmouthed over the last 6 to 8 months or so. End this reign. Please start day one of a new one. That's all I want to say there. And I hope I'm not wrong. In my head, I should have just picked Becky, taken the points and moved on. But I want to steal one from you guys.
I don't think you're wrong, Carl. I'm predicting Liv to win as well. I think Becky as the champion is great. I mean, she's proven she's a great champion in and out. But I think this is a chance to give Liv a bit more of a shine. This is a perfect opportunity for her to get somewhere in the women's division. And I think the Royal Rumble, we're obviously talking a lot about the Royal Rumble because we've got to look ahead. I think the Royal Rumble will benefit more with Becky Lynch being in the match rather than Liv Morgan. I think Liv Morgan in the Royal Rumble match will be just another number. It'll be a Nikki ASH or a Rhea Ripley, someone that we've kind of lost any sort of like inclination of actually supporting them. I mean, if you think 6 months ago, Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley were probably the hottest people in Raw, look at them now. You know what I mean? It's a thing like we just lost it. And I think if Liv Morgan loses now to Becky Lynch, she'll become one of those. But I think WWE have realized that they have a good performer in Liv Morgan, someone who is willing to push. You know, she's done her grind. I mean, she's been on the main roster, let's not forget, for just over 3 years now. All right. I know it feels like just the other day that she got called up. Remember? Yeah, she's been 3 years with the Riot Squad. She was 2.5 years with the Riot Squad, been half a year single athlete, well, sort of up to, I guess, a year by herself because Ruby Riott was sort of injured in between. But it's, you know, she's a full-time member of the roster, main roster, and she deserves now a final opportunity. And I think her last few performances, especially her match against Bianca Belair. Now, you guys know my feeling towards Bianca Belair. I don't like her at all. All right. I really, really dislike Bianca Belair. And I thought those two had some amazing chemistry and kind of foreshadowed maybe the future of the women's division. I think people like Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks and Bayley sort of you know, they've reached their peak. And I think the younger guys are starting to come up now and try and manipulate that and change. And don't forget, we have people like Lacey Evans, who obviously isn't around, but is considered a future Hall of Famer, as Jeremy would put it. Everybody's a future Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? She's really good. Don't look at me like that, Nash. Lacey Evans is a great wrestler. Just bad timing on the pregnancy thing for her. And let's disregard that Ric Flair storyline. That's why you don't like her. But anyway, that's what I'm going with. Liv Morgan to beat Becky Lynch cleanly and to become the Raw Women's Champion. Nashville, take it away.
I think you realize while, you know, Vaz was speaking, I've been taking notes. So I got a lot to say based on more than what Vaz and you and Kyle had to say. But Kyle, one thing I've got to say is you spoke a lot about Liv. I really hope Bliss doesn't get upset with you for that. But yeah, Lacey Evans, Hall of Fame. Thank you, Vaz, for making my day.
You know what?
Really put humor in me.
Mark my words. The day one prediction video, Vaz said Lacey Evans will be Hall of Famer. In like 10, 15 years, when we all get like a reunion show, I'll prove you guys wrong. As Jeremy would say, Coco Beware is a Hall of Famer.
If Jeremy was here, he'd have to object to everything you just said about Coco Beware. I think Frankie is more valid to be in the Hall of Fame than Coco Beware himself.
You watch your mouth, man. Watch your mouth. Coco Beware is a legend, okay? He made the kids happy.
And you were one of the
He's
kids.
the guy with the parrot, right?
Sure.
Yes, the guy with the parrot and the Hawaiian shirt.
He's the guy with the parrot.
Yes.
Cool.
You and Jeremy don't get Bianca Belair. A really interesting fact is that Liv Morgan is actually the only remaining member on Raw or in WWE, only remaining member of the Riot Squad. Because Ruby is gone. She's now Ruby Soho in AEW. Sarah Logan has retired, so Liv is the only one left. And yeah, like you mentioned with Rhea Ripley and what's her face? Nikki ASH, almost a superhero. If you guys watching this video go over and watch the PWC Awards, I had something to say about that because there was an award that came up with one of the two. I'm not going to tell you which one. You guys have to just go over and watch that video. But yeah, you just got to go with the flavor of the month as it comes, especially in WWE. Like you mentioned, Rhea Ripley and ASH were popular then and not now. So they pulled the trigger then when they were popular, and now they don't. They're not as popular as they were. And I think now is the time for Liv. Now really is the time for Liv to get the title. As much as in my own mind, I cannot see Liv holding the Raw title, I really want her to hold the Raw title because she's been through a lot. She's overcome the trials and tribulations. And I think Becky Lynch in the storyline is really taking her very lightly. Becky Lynch is looking at Liv as just another competitor on the road to WrestleMania. She's not taking her seriously. And I think, injuring her hand, she thinks, okay, now I've got an upper hand, so I don't have to train as hard as I would probably for for a Charlotte Flair than I would for a Liv Morgan. Day one, Becky Lynch is probably going to walk in there like an easy win. She's going to underestimate Liv, and Liv is going to overcome the injury in her hand, and she's going to, here's what I think is going to happen. I'm thinking a roll-up for the win, or Liv is going to hit her finishing move, Oblivion, out of nowhere. One of the two is going to, it's either going to be a roll-up or an Oblivion out of nowhere, and that is how Liv Morgan is going to win the title. So yeah, I'm going to go with Liv Morgan for the win, and I just want to categorically state, as much as I'm unlike Kyle, I'm not a fan of blondes, I'm more into brunettes, but when it comes to Liv Morgan, I have a modicum of respect, and it's only for one reason and one reason only, and that is because Liv Morgan, I said this before, was born in the same month and year as myself, and that's why Liv Morgan is one of my faves.
And me.
Who cares about you, Kyle?
June 94.
Kyle O'Reilly.
He always says that, and then he forgets I was born in the same flipping year and month as both of them at the same time. So it's fine.
Oh,
it's
at least me and Jeremy are born in the same month. Not year. He's a couple of years ahead of me.
Are you sure?
Couple of years.
That dude's been here before the ship's even arrived here.
So we've just given Jeremy the lead. That's all I've heard from this entire thing. Jeremy is going to take the lead just after this match is done.
Like, it's game over now.
All right, let's press on though. We're going to go to the Smackdown Tag Team Championships. And listen, I said a couple of weeks ago when we had a little WhatsApp group, and they told me what's the best tag team matches, what's your 5 best tag team matches, and I literally listed this match 5 times because it is a fantastic duo and you cannot go wrong with them. They've had 5 of the greatest matches and probably many, many more. It is the Usos taking on the New Day for the tag team titles. Of course, Usos are the current champions as part of the Bloodline, which we'll get to because I've actually got a lot to say about the Bloodline storyline, but we'll wait for the main event for that one. But for this one, just going to give you Jeremy's quick predictions on this one. He says Usos to win and retain. So that's what he says. Personally, I am going to disagree with him on this one. All right, I am going to say that the New Day are going to win the tag team titles. And for the very simple reason that I think, and I'm going to get more into it in the main event, is this might be the end of the Bloodline storyline. I think this might be the implosion of what is the Bloodline. But I'll get more into that later. With this one, reason also behind it is the New Day are hot again. Xavier Woods being king of the ring, and of course, Kofi Kingston being the hand of the king, which I thought was a nice little touch from Kofi. And I think they're always over. Listen, the New Day have been over for the last, 8 years, 9 years that they've been in tandem. Even without Big E as part of the trio, they are still fantastic as a group. Easily, and many people are going to crucify me for this one, the greatest tag team of all time, in my opinion. Yes, you get guys like the Hart Foundation, which were great, Legion of Doom. They are fantastic. They are fantastic tag teams. But the New Day, in essence, if you think of what they've done as a tag team, yes, it's only in WWE. They haven't really done it on the indies, whatever. the fact that they're still a tag team, especially in WWE after 9 years or 8 years, whatever the case is, without breaking up, without even teasing a breaking up, is a feat on its own. Because let's face it, WWE love to break up tag teams, love to destroy tag teams for no apparent reason. All right? I mean, we've seen big tag teams get destroyed with no reason whatsoever. If we remember the Hype Bros, okay? Now, Hype Bros was Zack Ryder and Mojo Rowley, right? Two random dudes chucked together, made a tag team, and it worked. Okay, they weren't exactly the greatest tag team, but it worked as a tag team. They broke up, and for what? For Zack Ryder to leave and Mojo Rawley to be relegated back to NXT. There was no reason to break them up. They needed tag teams, and they broke them up for no reason. The same can be said for any other tag team. AJ and Omos. There was no need right now to break that tag team up. Right? Raw needs tag teams. They don't have credible tag teams at the moment. They could have used AJ and Omos to build up other tag teams, all right? Like they did with Otis and Chad Gable. They've built them up. They've got the Viking Raiders, who are probably one of the most credited tag teams from the Indies. I mean, they came and destroyed on the Indies. They came into NXT and they destroyed in NXT, come to the main roster, and they're playing bowling with the Street Profits. You know what I mean? Instead, have AJ and Omos try and build them up into a credible second feud. But no, they split up AJ and Omos. Why? So Omos can have a singles run, which will probably end with him losing to Big E. Mark my word. Or Damian Priest for the US title. That's what's going to happen with Omos, and we're going to forget about him in 6 months' time. AJ Styles is AJ Styles. He's obviously going to be fired on his own. He doesn't need Omos. Omos needed AJ. But anyway, I've digressed.
Nash. Bass needs a hug. Bass needs a hug. Gosh.
It's frustrating, man. Like, I don't like tag team, but I want to see the tag team division flourish.
We know.
Because it can be so good. It can really be a good division. They've got the guys to do it. They're just stupid. That's it. But anyway, New Day to win. New Day, new champions. Nash.
I think that you're just heartbroken and torn because of the tag teams you were exposed to early on in your life. They weren't the best. You had the Guns and whatever tag team there were around back then. But I have to agree with
Bees. That's what I had.
I think the Killer Bees is what Jeremy had. Jeremy's probably I think Bruno Sammartino was in the tag team. But anyway,
the tag teams we had we had Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, so that happened, and we had Money Inc. That was the big one, and APA they were around. So yeah, it wasn't bad tag teams, but it wasn't great tag teams, you know. Maybe that's why.
The Ruthless Aggression era had better tag teams than the Attitude era. The Attitude era was mostly about stables like DX and the Undertaker Darkness and the Corporation. Yeah, those kind of people. But anyways.
There we go. We had the Insane Clown Posse, those dudes. The Mean Street Posse. That's what they're called. That's the tag teams I had to grow up in. And the
Clown
Nasty
Posse.
Boys.
That was WCW from correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
AJ and Omos, they kind of remind me of, you know, in, what was it, Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels where Nash was sort of like Michaels' bodyguard. That's what AJ and Omos kind of reminds me of. Because really, AJ is like Shawn Michaels.
I'm going to stop you there. The Shawn Michaels, Big Daddy Cool Diesel tandem worked. Because when they split, everybody knew they were really good friends. And when they split, it was they're going to stay friends, but they both want to be champions and not tag team champions. That's why they had the whole thing, good friends, better enemies storyline. AJ and Omos don't have that, okay? I don't see AJ and Omos going after their match to a pub and having a beer together.
Omos is like that big caveman that AJ is trying to tame, basically. That's what I look at it. More like
the dynamic I see is, if you remember, Ted DiBiase and Virgil. That's the dynamic I see with AJ and Omos.
Yeah, basically on the same level. But the Hype Bros, I have to disagree. I did not see a need for that tag team at all. Like, okay, Mojo Rowley and Zack Ryder, similar gimmick, but not exactly the same. So I didn't really see a need for that tag team. So when they broke up, I wasn't broken at all. And I have to agree with you.
Don't get me wrong. I wasn't broken up about it. I was just using it as an example of just random breakups that happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't give two hoots about them, to be honest.
But yeah, I have to agree with you that, you know what, New Day probably are, as much as okay, they weren't the most, you know, they're the only tag team, or stable, I should say, that really stuck together, even though when they were broken up apart. They're the only stable I can think of in recent years that had a WWE champion, but still stayed a stable and never broke up even after that fact. They're the only stable that has so many titles, so many tag titles, so many, you know, they even have the King of the Ring now under their belt. They even have the Money in the Bank under their belt. If you're looking at it as stable, each individual member has had a big moment that makes the New Day as a whole unit look like $1 million, because they've got all the accolades under their belt as a unit because of each individual success. That's how I look at New Day. And yes, unlike Lacey Evans, I think New Day has a better chance of getting in the Hall of Fame sooner. Calm down, Bears. Let me just get this out. New Day, yes, first ballot Hall of Famers. That's what I think of New Day. And I agree with you on the fact, and I think I agree with Kyle, with Jeremy as well. They are going to be the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I see them winning because now is the time for the Bloodline to break up going into WrestleMania, because here's how I see this whole thing playing out. I know you want to keep yours for the main event, but let me just say this up front. I'll come back to it later. Now that you've taken Paul Heyman out of the way, right? I don't think Paul Heyman's coming back unless WWE are pulling a swerve, and this whole thing with Heyman is just to throw Brock Lesnar off guard, you know, have him lower his guard. Paul Heyman comes out during the match and does a distraction, and then Roman wins, and then we get this whole thing that Heyman was pulling a ruse on everybody, and the Bloodline, there are no problems with it. But I do see them breaking up before WrestleMania. The Usos will drop the titles, and I'm predicting it will happen day one. So my prediction is New Day for the win. Roman will drop the Universal title, if not at day one, then at some point down the road. And now with Paul Heyman out of the way, the Bloodline broken up. And I know they said the same thing about Cena. You know, they said, oh, John Cena's got a filming schedule. He can't show up. But yet, he showed up. He was at SummerSlam. He was facing Roman Reigns in the main event. I think the same thing's going to happen with The Rock. So what if he has a filming schedule? Doesn't mean that, okay, his insurance policy is there in place because the films don't want him to get injured like he did before the filming of Hercules when he faced John Cena at WrestleMania 29. But is the possibility that Rock, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall Rock being to star in any movies other than the new Jumanji one, I think, that's coming out. I don't think that he's set to star in any other movie, you know. So I think The Rock's going to come back at some point, probably at the Royal Rumble, and we're going to get Reigns versus Rock at WrestleMania. But like I said, I'll keep that for the main event. But I just wanted to bring that up because the whole Bloodline story links together. So yes, New Day for the win. King Woods and Sir Kofi Kingston are going to be the new WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Baby!
He was waiting for that.
I was. Anyway, Carl, give us your thoughts on this one.
I hate going last because there's nothing much I can add. I just want to say that the pay-per-view is called Day One, and the Uso song is called Day One-ish. So I don't know if that's going to mean anything, but I don't even think anyone realizes that. I think season 1, Carl would have said the New Day loses only to see Woods and Kofi feud at WrestleMania. But I'm going to be realistic in this. New Day wins. And I'm assuming we're going to be talking about the Bloodline coming to an end a bit later on. I don't know if you guys have maybe mentioned that, but nothing more to add. Nothing more to add. We've spoken about this match for about half an hour. Thank you, lads. And I will add my 30 seconds to it by saying exactly what I've just said, and let's move on.
I think about 10 minutes of my rant had nothing to do with the New Day or Usos, but
yeah, we'll cut it.
Yeah. All right, let's switch over to WWE Raw for their main event, which I must say, storyline-wise, for me, best build-up we've had. But I'll get to my thoughts. It is Big E taking on Kevin Owens, taking on Seth Rollins, taking on the almighty Bobby Lashley. And Kyle, since your head going last, you can go first on this one.
Oh, okay. Sure. I can't be asked about this match, honestly. This is one that I'll skip through.
Sure.
For me, from a storyline perspective, it doesn't make sense to me why Seth Rollins is not facing Big E one-on-one. I don't get it. I know that they've added Kevin Owens and they've added Bobby Lashley to this, and they've made it, through very this storyline is the reason I have not been watching Monday Night Raw. I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand why we've thrown 4 guys into one match when we could have had 2.
Listen, but to stop you there, we all know why we watch Monday Night Raw, and that's for the final appearance of Veer. That's all we want, really.
Yeah. Well, there's three things. There's 3 things. It's Veer finally getting here, Alexa Bliss finally coming back, and to finally see Liv Morgan win the championship. That's the only 3 reasons I've been watching Monday Night Raw. Everything else I've literally been skipping through. I think this Big E thing, and I think this needs to be said, is gone boring. And I could have told you this the day he won the Money in the Bank briefcase. This championship run was never going to actually amount to anything. And please, can it just end? I get what we've been doing with Bobby Lashley. I think they've been doing the same thing with Drew McIntyre over on SmackDown, building them up as credible, letting them get wins. Bobby's had a very, very good run. He's shown he can actually wrestle. So it's changed my perspective of him over the last couple of months. I would like to see Kevin Owens win this match, and that's why my prediction is going to be Kevin Owens as our new WWE champion.
Well, there you go. You've given us all a point ahead of you, so that's nice to know.
Great.
I'm gonna give you my prediction on this one. I'm gonna just jump in here. So I disagree 100% with whatever Carl said. I disregard that as any sort of valid reason, because this storyline for me has been the most intricate thing on Raw at the moment. Big E as a champion has been great. He hasn't been the focal point, which is sad, but he's been great as a champion. He has proven the haters that he can be a serious champion. Everyone thought he was going to go the full comedy route. He has proven it week in and week out that he is a serious champion. Besides that, you say you don't understand why I can't be one-on-one with Seth Rollins. Simple fact is, if you look at the storyline and the booking, all of this is basically building up for Seth Rollins' character. He is the king of drip. In his mind, he is the only greatest wrestler on the planet. So when he won that contract to have a one-on-one match with Big E, in his mind was nothing can change it, right? Kevin Owens started giving him a bit of hassles, giving him a bit of crap, pushing him a little bit. He thought, I'm better than Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens can have the opportunity. Kevin Owens wins the opportunity. Kevin Owens makes it a triple threat match. Bobby Lashley did the same thing. Bobby Lashley, it wasn't actually Lashley, it was MVP, played to Seth Rollins' ego. And all these guys that have been added on have been kept playing to Seth Rollins' ego, which is why I say Big E hasn't been the focal point. It's been Seth Rollins. The focal point is getting him to give away his one-on-one match, right? His ego is the reason it is a fatal 4-way, not anything else. It's all because he is the king of drip, and he does that dance thing that he does to the ring, and his suits are amazing. With that being said, though, I must say that I want Big E to continue to WrestleMania. I really do, but I don't see it happening. I think the main event has become a bit too stacked for Big E. I think I love him. I think he's one of the best natural wrestlers. I mean, his persona, his in-ring, everything is great about him. But I think that this feud is a little bit beyond him, if that makes sense. So I do see the King of Drip walking away with the WWE title, and I see him and Kevin Owens pursuing their feud across WrestleMania, probably across Royal Rumble up to WrestleMania even, I think, because I think a SmackDown guy is going to win the Royal Rumble this year. Just putting it out there. With that being said, Seth Rollins, for me, is going to be the new WWE champion. I think it's about time he gets a proper title run again. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a minute since he was champion. Before I get to Nash, Jeremy says Big E for the win. He thinks Big E will continue to Royal Rumble at least. Nashville, what do you say? We all seem a bit split on this one. So
yeah, and I'm probably going to go in a different direction than both of you. First off, let me just say there's only one reason I am watching Raw, and it's not for Alexa Bliss or Liv Morgan. Sorry, Kyle, but it's actually just for Veer Mahan. When he retires, then I will stop watching Raw. When he gets released or cut from the roster, that's the only time I'll stop watching Raw. Veer Mahan's the only reason I'm watching because he brings back the gender vibes in me. India, number one.
Anyways, and he's actually Indian. He's actually an Indian, not like
he's
a
the
Canadian
real Indian
wannabe.
Yeah, not like that fake Canadian wannabe gender. I have
You
respect
people
for
boo me.
You people boo me because I look different. And no, I'm not going to give my prediction in Punjabi like Jinder. I'm going to give it in English. Best build-up. This storyline has had a good build-up. But I wouldn't, in my opinion, not the best build-up. The best storyline of this year, in my personal opinion, has been the Bloodline.
No, I'm not saying storyline. For this pay-per-view, name me another Raw match that has a better storyline than this.
Nothing on Raw.
Becky
Raw.
and Liv.
Cuck, man.
Becky and Liv.
Go back to sleep.
Really? Obviously.
I think you deserve to eat another hot chip just because of that comment, actually.
Vince and Austin Theory.
Austin Theory and Vince McMahon, the love story of a child and a father. That's how I look at it.
That's just weird, yeah. Anyway, Nashville, sorry.
Yeah,
carry on.
I think let me just get this out of the way. This Fatal 4-Way, I like Fatal 4-Ways. Don't get me wrong. I like the star power in this is great. I mean, you've got Rollins, you've got Owens, you've got Lashley, and you've got Big E. This has star power written all over it. It's going to be an amazing match. And if they do it right, I've got a feeling this match could be a 5-star match. Not from Dave Meltzer, because we know anything in Tokyo Dome that happens is only 5-star. Nothing in WWE is 5-star for him. But for me, from the Nash ratings, if they do it right, it'll probably be a 5-star match.
The only way this match will be a 5-star if it takes place in the Tokyo Dome.
If it took place in the Tokyo Dome.
Or in Florida, in Jacksonville. That's the only places that will get a 5-star nowadays.
I think the only person who rates matches 5-star in Jacksonville would be a good friend of ours named Pete. He loves everything about Jackson, Florida. But getting back on track, I'm sure that my major players' brethren, Jeremy, would have loved it if Lashley comes out in the headband in this one, because then it would have been the most amazing. He would have mocked out like crazy. He wouldn't care to wake the neighbors up at midnight. He would be over the moon. We would see a certain Facebook account make a return if that happened. But
I want that Facebook account to return, man. I do.
I can see why you're saying Seth Rollins could win this match and why maybe Kyle is saying that, Kevin Owens could win this match. I don't see Kevin Owens winning because from a heel, the way he's playing heel, to me, doesn't go in the winner's direction. Lashley has already had his time in the sun. He's been champion. My personal opinion, I think his reign ended too quick, but, such is life. But I don't see him winning either. Seth Rollins, I could possibly see him winning using his slimy, heelish ways, just sliding in the ring when everyone is down, getting the win and running off with the title, dancing like whatever you call that dance that Faz is doing right now. It looks like he's doing an Indian dance, in my opinion.
It's the drip dance, man. It's the drip dance.
The drip dance. I think he stole that from Johnny Drip. I think he stole that from Johnny Drip Drip. But yeah, I'm going to go with Jeremy on this one, actually. I see Big E for the win. And here's why. I think it's just too soon for Rollins because I see this feud continuing after day one. that Rollins is going to complain that he didn't get, he's contractually obligated to a one-on-one title match as per the contract that he won. So he's going to complain incessantly that he didn't get his one-on-one shot, and he gets it at the Royal Rumble. And I think at the Royal Rumble is when he drops the title, but not at day one. I'm going Biggie for the win, and this storyline with him and Rollins continues into Royal Rumble.
All right. And speaking of main events, it is time for the main event on day one. Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, the main man on the island of Revenancy, taking on the Beast Incarnate. He was once known as the next big thing, Brock Lesnar. And I'm going to kick us off on this one because I've been waiting patiently for this one. And this is what I see happening. I see the end of the bloodline as we know it. And I'm going to mention Roman Reigns. I'm going to mention Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, and Sami Zayn in this little rant. Let's call it a rant. And I'll tell you why.
Zayn.
So, yes.
Okay.
Mark my word. Just listen. Right. Roman is going to lose cleanly to to Brock Lesnar. All right. He's going to lose cleanly. Paul Heyman will be out of ringside to try and cause a distraction. It's not going to be a distraction. Lesnar's going to hit him with maybe about 3 or 4 F5s and beat him fair in the ring. Brock Lesnar will be the new Universal Champion, and he will stay champion until WrestleMania when Sami Zayn challenges him there. But I'll get to that. I will get to Sami Zayn, and I'll tell you why all of this. But with regards to the bloodline, earlier in the night, Usos are going to lose the titles. This is going to upset Roman. He's going to be like, why didn't you guys win it? Like, you guys are my family. You're supposed to be big. It's going to keep him frazzled. He's then going to say that he has to do everything by himself because he is the tribal chief. He's the needle mover on the ratings, all that jazz. Coming out, he's going to feel overconfident because now he has, underconfident rather, because now he has to pick up the slack from the Usos. And that's how he loses. After that, we're going to have a full blowout about how the Usos have never had Roman's back, how he's always been this, and that they're going to have a feud. We're going to have a Roman versus the Usos feud going up to WrestleMania, which will lead to the Rock's return. Because the way I see it, he's going to dominate the Usos. He's going to beat the hell out of the Usos. Who's the Usos going to call? But their nice, lovely blood uncle, The Rock, to come and help them. And that's how we're going to get Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania. I don't care about movie scheduling. I don't care. This is probably a massive fantasy. It's probably never going to happen. But that's how I see it. And that's how I want it to happen. With regards to Sami Zayn and Brock Lesnar, we've seen that they have good chemistry inside the ring, chatting to each other. I mean, that segment about, Brock Lesnar being Canadian and they want to go moose hunting, that was fantastic. I loved it. And the male nurses, I thought that was great. I'm predicting at day one, we're going to get Sami Zayn versus Nakamura. So Sami Zayn won that gauntlet match last week, and he gets a title opportunity against Nakamura. So I think we're going to get that. And I think he's going to lose that match. And I think there's going to be some shenanigans, and he's going to be, the conspiracy theory. It's Sami Zayn. Going to the Royal Rumble, he's going to get number 30, and he's going to win the Royal Rumble. Sami Zayn is winning the Royal Rumble. It's the perfect way to get him to stay in WWE, and he gets his title opportunity against Brock Lesnar, his old buddy, the Canadian friend. Don't you dare laugh. You know that this is a possibility, Nash. You know that WWE is crazy enough to do something like this. Would you not like to see Sami Zayn as the Royal Rumble winner? Finally, all the conspiracy around it, everything that has been built up over the last 2 years, that WWE is against Sami Zayn, and he wins the Royal Rumble. That is the perfect ending to the documentary series.
Fast, keep this up. Keep this up. Keep this thinking. Keep this energy. Keep this sort of way of predicting up, and you are going to be losing at the end of 2022.
You know what? I'm not taking your negativity right now. I'm buzzing.
No,
right?
I'm not.
He is winning the Royal Rumble. Mark my words.
Vaz, did you have a bowl of burritos this morning?
Predicting
Because
the
it seems like
Rumble
you're
and
buzzing with power
WrestleMania.
positivity.
I'm telling you
I-
guys.
I
Bar
agree.
any injuries, that will happen.
I would love to see what Vaz is saying come to fruition. I would love to see it. And I'm not even going to say but. I would love to see it. That sounds cool. I'm just going to predict the match as is. Brock Lesnar is going to beat Roman Reigns. Start day one of Roman's redemption. Let's call it that. And all signs are pointing towards it. I want to think shenanigans. I want to think there's a ruse, as Nash mentioned a little bit earlier on. I'm very interested to see what Jeremy has to say about this. But yeah, Brock wins. I would love to see that. I'm sick and tired of Roman Reigns now. Can he please get off our screens?
Nashville, give us your thoughts.
Before I go, I want to know what Jeremy predicted. What did Jeremy predict?
Jeremy predicts Brock Lesnar to win with the help of Paul Heyman, and then he turns on Paul Heyman afterwards.
That's a very interesting one. Very interesting.
Oh, I forgot to add something. Sorry. Sorry,
okay.
I just remembered something that I was supposed to add and I didn't. With regards to Sami Zayn and everything, he's going to get help from Paul Heyman. Because Brock doesn't want Paul Heyman, Roman doesn't want Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, he had his promo where he says he doesn't know what he's going to do. Sami Zayn's going to hire Paul Heyman. That's what I wanted to add as well.
Can you really see Sami Zayn facing Brock Lesnar and winning? Really?
I never said winning.
Yes.
I never said winning.
That's going to be a comedy match. Even if he is in the match with Brock Lesnar, that's going to be a 3-minute match not worthy of WrestleMania.
I never said winning. And the fact that it'll be Sami Zayn versus Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman in Sami Zayn's corner is money.
Yes.
I disagree with that. I just think, Vaz, you had a
all
really
I can
big
hope is that a
Burritos
WWE official is watching this video and looks at Vaz and goes, "That's our booking for next month. That's our booking right there."
Nobody in WWE is watching this video, I'll tell you that much. And if
One
they
can
are,
hope.
they're laughing at you. I'll tell you that much. Because it looks like you had a big bowl of burritos this morning and you're buzzing with the power of positivity is what it looks like. But, yeah, getting back on track. Yeah, Sami Zayn versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania looks like a comedy match to me. It doesn't look like a money match in my personal opinion. But I do agree with the fact where Paul Heyman said that he was protecting Roman from Lesnar. And that alone, that statement alone from Heyman himself gives me enough gumption to say that Lesnar is going to win the title at day one. He's going to beat Roman Reigns. He's not going to beat him easy. It's not going to be an easy win. I put this down at probably being maybe a 5 to 7 minute match. But it's not going to be an easy win for Lesnar. He's not going to just toss Roman around. I think Paul Heyman's only going to come down mid-match or towards the end, and that's what's going to cause the distractions with Roman getting distracted and Lesnar picking up the win. And I could possibly see that, Lesnar gets rid of Heyman maybe at the end because he says, you know what, I don't need Heyman. I want this on my own. I got this title match on my own. Or it could be, Lesnar and Heyman again. But, who's to say? But yeah, I see Lesnar winning. I don't see Roman retaining. This is going to be, day one's going to be the implosion of the bloodline. And going into WrestleMania, I think, yeah, Roman is probably going to be in some sort of match at the Royal Rumble. He's not going to be in the Royal Rumble match. Or maybe he will, and he doesn't win, and The Rock returns at the Royal Rumble. Because there's no other logical place for The Rock to return other than at the Royal Rumble and have a face-off with Roman. And they both look at the WrestleMania sign, and we all know what the WrestleMania main event will be. It'll be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, the one that's been rumored for over a year. The Samoans going at it against each other. So yeah, my prediction, Lesnar for the win, and this is the end of the bloodline.
No mention of Sami Zayn. Nothing.
While we're on The Rock, mean, Roman could be in the Royal Rumble. He could get eliminated by the Usos themselves. You know, just to because I'm stuck on Vas's thing now. I mean, I could see Sami Zayn winning the Rumble, for example. Roman coming out there attacking him. Sami complaining about the fact that he didn't get his whole finger point thing. He's won the Rumble, adding to the conspiracy. You know, even throw in The Rock, maybe returning at the Rumble. Sami being very upset. He's the Royal Rumble winner, but what everyone else is remembering is Roman standing out there with The Rock pointing at the Wrestlemania sign. But that was his moment. I'm actually all in on Vas's idea right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No.
There we go.
Quality.
Yeah.
But back to the
should
match.
be a booker, man.
Yeah. Brock's winning.
Vas, you do realize Kyle's only saying this because he's trying to throw you off for the rest of the year because he doesn't want to be at the bottom.
I mean, what would be even better is if Bliss returns and
evidently, like, eventually, you know, Kyle's going to be at the bottom. It's how it goes. It's how it works, you know.
You're counting him up already.
It's just something that happens. It's like, you know, the sky is blue, the grass is green. Kyle's going to eat another hot chip at the end of 2022. It's life, you know.
You see, but add to your thing, you know, wouldn't it be nice, a heartfelt moment to see Kevin Owens as the WWE champion going and hugging Sami Zayn as the Universal champion at the end of WrestleMania? I mean, our story,
like, I remember back in 2004 when Eddie hugged himself in the ring. That was a lovely moment, you know?
Yeah, Eddie showed love to himself that night, yeah.
It was fantastic, you know? It was weird that we had, like, a whole main event with...
That main event between Triple H and Shawn Michaels was really overshadowed by Eddie Guerrero just embracing himself.
It was amazing, yeah. All right. That's all the time we have here for the day one prediction, the first prediction show of 2022. Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. Looks like a lot of us have the same opinion all the way through, up and until basically the final two matches. That's where, second last match, because we all agree Brock Lesnar's winning. But yeah, so this looks like it's going to be panning out a good season. To all you guys watching, please, guys, don't forget to click subscribe. Tell your parents, grandparents, lovers, haters, wrestling fans, soccer fans, rugby fans, any fan you want. Just tune in, guys. OnlyFans as well, yeah. If we have anybody watching that is on OnlyFans, post us in your feed. Maybe a couple of horny guys will come and watch us. It's fine. We're good looking guys. It's all right. And Carl can find his small blonde girl. It's fine. All right. Anyway, we're going to be bringing you all the videos throughout the year. Of course, for season 2, we're doing all the pay-per-views for WWE and AEW. So we've got a lot of prediction coming up for you guys. And we can see Kyle suffer through it all, and Jeremy rant through it all, and Nashville judge us through it all because he just writes everything down, and me just being correct all the time. From us, though, from me, your mother's favorite podcaster, Vaz, from the data killer himself, Nashville. He just drains us with all the data twists. And, of course, from Kyle, we don't have a nickname for you.
No, you don't need one.
Can't be the newbie anymore.
Yeah, it can't be the newbie anymore. Yeah.
I'll call him
loser for now.
Wait, I'm the PWC champion. I'm the PWC champion. I've been the champion for 5 months now.
I forgot that's even a thing, man. Anyway, our PWC champion, our defunct champion, it is Kyle. Been awesome for you guys, and of course Jeremy SMSing his predictions through to me. We'll be back on the next video, hopefully. From everybody here at PWC, we love you guys. Please remember to click subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, check out our other videos. From all of us here, peace and chicken grease.